Take out your phone for a moment and open your banking app. You'll see a number. That number might determine where you live, what you eat, whether you travel, and sometimes even how secure you feel about your future. But there's something strange about it. There are no coins, no paper bills, no gold bars sitting behind that screen. Just digits. So how did money, something that used to be heavy, shiny, and physical, turn into numbers on a screen? To understand this, we need to travel back in time. Thousands of years ago, money was not abstract at all. It was physical and often inconvenient. People traded cows, grains, salt shells, and pieces of metal. In ancient Rome, soldiers were sometimes paid in salt, which is where the word salary comes from. In many early civilizations, silver and gold were weighed to measure value. If you had wealth, you carried it. If you wanted to pay someone, you physically handed it over. Money was like carrying buckets of water. If you were rich, you carried more buckets. If you paid someone, you poured water from your bucket into theirs. It was heavy, visible, and tangible. Then came a major shift: paper money. Around the 7th century in China, merchants began using paper receipts instead of transporting heavy metal coins across long distances. Eventually, governments formalized these paper notes. The paper itself was not valuable. It represented something valuable, usually gold or silver stored somewhere else. This was the first major abstraction of money. It was no longer the water itself. It was a ticket that promised water. For the first time, people had to trust a symbol rather than hold the value directly. Interestingly, psychology research shows that even symbols of money can influence behavior. In 2008, psychologist Kathleen Voss found that simply being reminded of money, even through images, can make people more independent and less likely to ask for help. Money doesn't just store value. It changes how we think. As money became more symbolic, our minds had to adapt to trusting representation instead of substance. Banks accelerated this transformation. In Europe, goldsmiths began storing gold for customers and issuing receipts as proof of storage. People realized they didn't need to withdraw their gold to make payments. They could simply trade the receipts. Over time, banks noticed that most people did not withdraw all their gold at once. This allowed banks to lend out more money than they physically had, a system known as fractional reserve banking. Money was increasingly becoming numbers written in ledgers. Imagine a giant notebook where every person has a name. When you earn money, someone writes +100 next to your name. When you spend it, they write 20. The gold rarely moves. Only the entries change. Money was becoming accounting information long before computers existed. For centuries, many currencies were tied to gold through systems like the gold standard. But in 1971, the United States officially ended the gold standard under President Richard Nixon. The dollar was no longer directly backed by gold. It became fiat money, meaning it has value because the government declares it so and because people accept it in exchange. From that point on, money was based almost entirely on trust and collective agreement. It became less about physical backing and more about shared belief. Money began to resemble language. It works because we all agree it works. The introduction of credit cards in the mid-20th century pushed money further into abstraction. Instead of handing over cash, people signed receipts. Later, they swiped cards, tapped them, and eventually clicked online. Transactions became signals traveling between banks rather than physical exchanges. Research shows this shift changed our psychology. In a 2001 study published in the Journal of Consumer Research, Drizzen Prelick and Duncan Simster found that people were willing to pay significantly more when using credit cards compared to cash. Paying with cash feels like losing something real. Paying digitally feels less painful because nothing physically leaves your hand. Money was becoming lighter, less tangible, and less emotionally immediate. With the rise of the internet, money transformed again. Online banking, digital transfers, and mobile payment systems turned money into pure information. When you receive your salary today, no truck delivers bills to your house. Instead, a database updates, plus 10,000. That's it. Money has become data stored on servers and transmitted through networks. According to reports from the Federal Reserve, the majority of transactions in developed countries are now non-cash. And in places like Sweden, cash usage has fallen to a small percentage of total payments. Money now flows like digital water through invisible pipes across the globe in milliseconds. This digital shift has neurological consequences. A 2018 study published in Nature Communications found that digital payments reduce the brain's pain of pain response compared to cash transactions. When we physically hand over cash, areas of the brain associated with loss become more active. Digital transactions dampen that reaction. Similarly, research from MIT in 2016 suggested that the more abstract money feels, the less emotionally attached people are to it. When money becomes numbers, spending becomes easier and sometimes less deliberate. Subscriptions accumulate. Small in-app purchases feel harmless. Debt grows quietly. Nothing leaves your wallet because there is no wallet. Then came cryptocurrencies, beginning with Bitcoin in 2009. For the first time, money could exist without a central bank controlling it. Instead of being stored in a bank's database, transactions are recorded on a blockchain, a decentralized digital ledger secured by cryptography. Money became code verified by networks of computers. We moved from trusting gold to trusting governments, and now to trusting mathematics. It is a remarkable evolution, from cows and metal coins to encrypted algorithms. The most important realization is that money was never really about metal or paper. It has always been about trust. When you accept money, you trust that someone else will accept it from you later. The material form changes, but the shared belief remains. Money is a story we collectively agree to believe. At first, we wrote that story on stone and metal, then on paper. Now we write it in databases and digital ledgers. Today, when you look at your bank balance, you are not looking at physical wealth. You are looking at a digital record of trust, labor, and time. Behind every number is human effort. Behind every transaction is an exchange of energy between people. Money used to be like carrying bricks in your hands. Now it is like managing invisible air pressure. You cannot see it or hold it, but it still moves buildings, builds cities, and shapes lives. Money did not disappear. It evolved. It became lighter, faster, and more abstract. From heavy metal to paper promises, from ledger entries to digital signals, and now to cryptographic code, money has gradually transformed into numbers on a screen. Yet beneath those numbers lies the same foundation that has always existed: collective trust. The digits may flicker and change, but what truly gives them power is our shared belief in their meaning. Thanks for watching.